Last week, I announced that She-Hulk was going to be a new Avenger, added to the cast of Avengers for the upcoming Avengers Secret Wars movie. Now we see another development. Welcome back to Views with the Hughes, Jennifer News. This is Jerome Hughes, and be sure to subscribe to the channel so that way you're notified of future uploads and updates. So we found out now that season 2 of She-Hulk from Disney Plus has been canceled. Okay, so what actually led to this development? Let's go ahead and get into it. Now, we've actually heard before about this once forgotten show that there was more discussions regarding the Marvel Disney Plus series She-Hulk, and the show, despite being a lot of people talking about it, hasn't really been favorable by the audiences. In other words, wasn't well received. In other words, the audience has totally rejected it. Okay, we also saw that from Rotten Tomatoes, where the audience score for that was just 32%, where it stands as one of the most criticized Marvel Studios Disney Plus productions. Now, this sentiment contrasts sharply with the critics' views, who largely praised the show, or so-called praises, if you ask me. And there wasn't any verified audience score from that show either, or if it was, it wasn't actually genuine. Now, it's also interesting to note that the critics actually lauded She-Hulk series, but the audience hated it. Okay, now this particular disparity raises questions about the criteria used by each group to evaluate the show, as reported before, and then the general consensus among viewers seemed to actually be negative. A lot of people question the show's character, especially with the CGI. I'll be honest, I watched the first two episodes, and after that, I just completely tuned out because bad story, bad CGI, as well as the fact that the quality in the superhero was not what I known when I read the comics. Okay. Now, the recent reports also suggest that the talk for a second season of She-Hulk is not even likely. This speculation was further fueled by comments from Tatiana Maslany, the lead actress who played She-Hulk in the role, and then the information actually initially surfaced by tweet from DCU Direct, citing Maslany's doubts about the renewal of the series for a second season. Now, her remarks indicate that the financial constraints might have played a significant role in Disney's hesitance to renew She-Hulk. In other words, the show was too expensive. And how in the world was it too expensive and stuff? How's it getting all that money and the CGI was that bad? How was it that bad? Well, I mean, they spent a lot of money. I'm pretty sure on writers that didn't really, who were young, didn't really, hasn't really had much experience in writing quality content and stuff like that. Yet they spent a lot of money on CGI. I believe it was rushed, as I reported before as well. Now, her remarks indicate, as I said, like some financial basically it's too much money being spent on season 1. Okay, and she also suggested that in a humorous way that the show's budget was a major concern for Disney, and it also led to the current state of uncertainty regarding the series' future. The thing is that people who's familiar with the show itself should know that it's also important to recognize that the character does have a rich history in Marvel Comics. Okay, now what you saw in the show wasn't shown in the comics. Okay, it's completely different. That's how Marvel always does things. It's usually with Marvel Studios. And now She-Hulk has been a part of the various storylines and has seen her series revive several times, sometimes to significant success. Kind of like the animated series of The Incredible Hulk from the 90s. Okay, now one of the key criticisms of She-Hulk series is that it didn't stay true to the original comic book material itself. That's nothing new because of the fact that many works of the Phase 4 MCU didn't even stay true to the works. And also one bit from the from Marvel Phase 3, Captain Marvel, I mean, that actually kind of deviated for them source material because originally Captain Marvel was a guy. Okay, or I could be wrong. I'm not really familiar with that particular comic. I didn't really read it myself. Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments below. Was he really a man, or has Captain Marvel always been a woman? Now, fans, myself included, actually expressed a lot of disappointment over the show's creative decisions, particularly those that are not aligning with the character's origins and established narratives. As you all remember from episode 1, she actually got, she was basically trying to save Bruce Banner's life in an accident that when she wasn't focused on the road, and next thing you know, she got a scratch and his blood intermingled with hers. But originally in the comics, as I reported when the first show came out, the comics, she was in an accident and then she was in need of blood, and I believe she was in a coma. And then the doctors told her cousin Bruce that she needs blood. And Bruce made the tough decision to give her his blood, because even though it was mutated with it was basically he basically made that harsh decision and then risked to save her life because he wanted her to live. All right. And that's how she became She-Hulk. Now, in the series itself, She-Hulk's transformation, as I said, it had to contribute to the car accident, might have blood exposure from Bruce Banner, and next thing you know, she was turned into the Hulk, okay, immediately. Now, the show also faced a lot of criticism for the messaging. And the messaging itself, as no surprise, has been inconsistent, particularly in how it handles the themes of female empowerment and objectification. Scenes where, and that's the part that actually contradicts her as a character. There's different scenes where she's been sexualized, but at the same time, she expresses her experiences in being catcalled, And that's drawing a lot of negative responses, because it was contradictory, And then given various factors, including the reception by the audience, as well as issues with the budget, the prospect for a second season of She-Hulk seems a bit grim, with Maslany herself expressing a lot of doubts about the series' continuation, suggesting that fans should actually lower their expectations. I mean, to be fair, our expectations were already lowered and stuff, not only with the reviews, but when we saw the series ourselves, because you have, the storyline itself being having a lot of humor added to it, the character not being taken seriously. Also, parts where, and I said that she's been sexualized, but at the same time, she complained about being objectified and not taken seriously as a woman, and she's twerking with Megan Thee Stallion. Kind of late to let audiences know that they need to lower their expectations. But despite the unlikelihood of a second season of She-Hulk series, the character may still have a future in the MCU. There's also speculation suggesting she could appear in Marvel movies or series, possibly the Events movie, like I stated before. And then there's also speculation and rumors that she might appear in the next Daredevil series. That's if that's launched off the ground, because there wasn't much good reception in the show itself as well as on Echo. Now, producing a show centered around CGI like the She-Hulk presents a lot of challenges. Nothing new, because we also saw that in Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania, particularly in terms of budget. The high cost of creating such a character might actually prevent future projects, especially given mixed reception of the current series. Now, while She-Hulk as a series faced a lot of numerous challenges and criticism, it represents a bigger issue with Marvel's approach to the cinematic universe, where it actually steers away from the source material itself and handling key characters, which sparked a lot of debate among fans. And while Marvel continues to evolve its strategy, the fate of the characters like She-Hulk remains a topic of interest and speculation, and the series reception underscores the importance of staying true to the essence of the characters while innovating within the constraints of modern storytelling. So She-Hulk is basically a case study in the complex dynamics of adapting comic book characters for the screen. Now, the negative reception highlights the need of a careful balance between being original and staying true to the source material. Now, while Marvel and Disney try to look forward to assess the future of their expanding universe, there should be lessons learned from She-Hulk that should influence their approach to character development, storytelling, as well as audience engagement in future projects. Whether or not She-Hulk returns in her own series, her impact on the MCU and its fandom is undeniable. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel, click the bell notification, so that way you're notified of future uploads and updates. Until then, peace.